their senior boot camp. You remember this is something new, none of the other schools do, we're trying it out. So we graciously have some Mizzou students here and MACC students to kind of talk about their experience. Today we want you to ask questions. I have some questions in case there's a little bit of lull, but they're here, they're going to be honest with you. We want to kind of give you the nitty-gritty of what college life is like. You may recognize a couple Battle alums, but I'm going to let them introduce themselves. They're going to tell you their names, what they're studying. We have two other students that are not freshmen, and they're going to talk a little bit more about their path to college and how it's been these last couple of years. So I'm going to let them take it over. While they're talking, start thinking about some questions you want to ask. This is going to be kind of an open forum for you guys to ask any questions. And please put your phones and iPads away. Let's be respectful of our visitors. Darnell. Right there. All right, let's get started.
All right, I'm Isaac Baker. I'm a freshman at Mizzou. I'm a Battle alum, and I'm not sure what I'm studying right now. I'm undecided. Oh, I'm in Marching Mizzou. That's a lot of fun, and I eat a lot on campus.
I'm Mohammed, and while I graduated from here last year, I am a freshman at Mizzou. I'm studying biochemistry, and I'm part of, I guess, biochemistry club, and I do some undergrad research. So. Yeah, so I went to Mizzou thinking that I was going to be a computer science major. That's what I'd done for like a couple years beforehand at the career center. And what really made me decide that I wanted to do biochemistry was that I had this undergrad research job where I was working with a genetics professor, and I got to like interact with some stuff, and I don't know, the science, the like biochemistry science route just sounded more interesting to me.
Well, howdy, Bad. My name is Austin Nadi. I'm a junior at Mizzou, and I'm studying to be a chemistry teacher. I also changed my major, which is okay. Like, you guys are going to find that change your majors, what most people do. But I wanted to be a chemical engineer, and then hated that, and so I'm going to be a chemistry teacher. But yeah, so that's what I'm studying. I've been at Mizzou for 2.5 years now, and I love it.
Hi, my name is Summer McNellis. I'm a freshman at MACC, and I'm just going there for 2 years to be my gen eds.
Hi, I'm Taylor Rose. I'm a senior at Mizzou. I'm from St. Louis, and so a lot of people from my high school end up going to Mizzou. So I chose that because I wanted a big university, and I started out as a business major because I wanted to make lots and lots of money. And then I quickly found out that I'm terrible at business and math, so I switched to education because that is what I love to do. So I'm a high school secondary education language arts major. Outside of school, I am president of my Greek chapter on campus, and I'm also an ambassador for the College of Education.
All right, so now this is your time, Battle. This is going to be open forum. If you have a question, I'm going to call on you, and we'll kind of pass the mic down and let you answer it. If you want to skip, pass to the next person. That's completely okay. Keandre, start us off.
All right, so you said something about your business major. I was wondering about, like, because that's what I want to go to college for. So, like, can you, like, go in a little bit more in detail about it? What was bad about it? Like, what do you like about it?
So Keandre is asking for a little bit more information on the business major, and Miss Rose here was a business major and switched to education, so she can give you some information.
Yeah, so Mizzou actually has the Trulass College of Business, which is this massive, new, beautiful, beautiful building. And the program itself is fantastic. I just wasn't good at it. So there's a heavy focus on math. The class that kind of taught me that business was not as much for me is that I was in business calc my freshman year. However, I did get through it because they have awesome resources where you can go to study sessions and free help sessions that are fantastic and offered through the college. They also have a really cool program called the Professional Development Program, and through through that program. You can go to different workshops for different things, resume writing, cover letters, how to conduct an interview, what to wear, the difference between business casual and business professional. So they have an amazing, amazing program. It just was not for me, but I would highly recommend looking into it because they really do offer so many tools for you in your undergraduate experience so that you are so ahead of the game once you leave and you're out of the workforce.
Thank you. Keandre, another question?
So on that note, did they have help available for the math that you were doing? Like, you know?
That's a good question, so I'm going to make it a little bit more general. Keandre is asking if there's help for the math. Do you guys know of any resources on your campus that could help you with some of your schoolwork?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually went to, every single night, I would walk across campus to go to the free help sessions that are through the Student Success Center. And they offer different workshops and different study sessions almost nightly for every major. So whether it's through the Writing Center and you need to send in your paper and have somebody proofread it for free and send it back to you, to calc study sessions where they will have math majors come and help you through your homework problems. It's all free, it's almost nightly, they make it very available because they want as many people to come as possible, and that resource is really what got me through that course, so it was phenomenal.
At MACC, there's a lot of resources. We have a LARC, which is Language Arts Resource Center, and also we have like a math study room with our teachers who go in there, and all of our teachers provide their office hours, so we can go in and see them and ask them questions, or they can help us with the homework, or if we have any questions about the notes that we took.
Also, I'm an RA on campus. We're kind of the staff. Yeah, we're kind of the staff of the residence halls in the dorms, so if you guys ever need anything, we're the people that you go to. But we try crazy hard to make study sessions every night, so if you don't want to walk, or I'm off campus, I'd have to drive to get on campus, we try to make study sessions every night. So if you ever have problems with math, you guys aren't the only ones having problems with math in the dorm. So you guys just email your RA and say, hey, I need a study session for math, and we can set that up for you, and we can email others, and I'm sure you guys will find help with that.
I don't really know of know the names of any specific study groups, but I on my floor in the residence hall I'm at, there's a group of people every night in the lounge studying. So it's kind of, you can find it specifically to what you need to study, or you can study in a group with a bunch of friends. And I've got a friend from Mizzou that I study German with, and there's also a group that will help you write papers and help you write them down and know exactly what you need to say and how to say it.
Any other questions? Yes.
How did Mo get into undergrad research?
So how did Mo get into undergrad research?
So actually, I'm kind of lucky that my sister's a senior at Mizzou, so she knew the professor beforehand. But I know a lot of people that have gone into undergrad research their freshman year. You just gotta talk to the professors, or if you have a connection somewhere, you'll be able to get in. But just putting yourself out there, there's a good chance that you'll get in.
We're open for questions, guys. Yes. In the back. That is a great question. Is college as hard and scary as everyone makes it out to be?
Not at all. I thought it was going to be terrifying, and I was terrified up through the first whole week of classes. I was surprised with how laid back most of my professors are. They still expect quality work, and they expect it on time, which is completely understandable. But it's not really that hard. You do have a lot of free time, even if, for me, I'm doing Marching Mizzou, we rehearse 4 days a week, and then we almost always have something to do Saturday. And I'm also Mini Mizzou, which requires that I play other gigs that come up, normally Wednesday and Sunday for volleyball games, and I have enough free time to get all the homework done and hang out with people. So it's not that bad.
Yeah, I really don't think that college is harder at all than high school. It's just really a time management thing.
came from a different school than you guys, but one thing I've seen here at Battle is they do really well preparing you guys for college. So for you guys, hopefully it won't be that hard and scary. For me, I had to learn how to study, because I didn't really study much in high school. And so studying, that's going to be a big part, because you guys have so much free time. You guys say 17 hours is usually a week, is usually a big course load. And then you just have to devote yourself to studying outside of class, doing your work outside of class, and you have to time manage that yourself. So that was the hardest part for me. And college is really scary. There's so many people there, so many new people to meet, that you can hang out with a lot of people. And professors maybe might be the scariest part of college. And you guys just have to, like Mo said, put yourself out there, go talk to professors. They have office hours. They want you to come in. They want you to come talk to them because they're not really doing anything else during those office hours. So go and talk to your professors right off the bat, and college becomes a whole lot less scary.
I think college is really scary because so in high school you learn a lot in class. You do a lot of like activities in class to help you with the homework that you're going to do that night. In college, you watch a PowerPoint and like take notes for an hour and a half, and then the professor's like, okay, go do your homework. For example, in my Western Civ class, we've had one thing in the grade book, and it was a test that is like 30% of your grade. We have had no homework, and like all we do is take notes in class, and so you don't really have like homework to like lean on in certain classes because sometimes the only thing that they put in the grade book is your tests. Like he said that studying is really big because in high school I never really learned how to study. I didn't really need to study because of all the activities that we did in class, all the like worksheets and like other things that you guys think is like tedious work that the teachers are just like giving you is actually really helpful. Yeah, so in college I didn't really get all that, but it's meeting new people is really fun. Getting involved is really fun. You meet some really interesting folks in college. Like there's a guy in my public speaking class with a 10-year-old. I'm just like, yeah, but there's adults. You go to school with adults. It's just a really big adjustment, and it's scary and fun at the same time.
Yeah, so I think that college is really hard, but it's a different kind of hard. So like anything else, it's a skill that you get the hang of and that you've been well prepared for. So when you are in college, like everyone else has been saying, nobody's checking up on your attendance in your big classes. No one's asking you if you went to class. No one's really asking if you get it. So it's really important to know that it's on you right from the get-go to be really proactive and seek out those resources. And there are a ton of resources, kind of like what we've been talking about earlier with the Student Success Center and workshops and things like that. But it becomes your responsibility and your main priority to get caught up and make sure that you're on top of things. And once you get a hold of that and you learn how to manage your free time and manage your not free time, then it's going to be some of the best years that you ever have. It's really fun.
We have a late arrival here. You probably don't recognize him with his shirt on. It's Cameron Hawkins. Cameron, can you tell, everyone's kind of done an introduction already, we've got a few questions. Can you talk about your experience so far and what your plans are?
Sorry again for being late. I'll be honest, I thought this was tomorrow. And I had a class till 10:30 today, but I'm here. So I'm at MACC, and honestly, it's not a ton different from high school, because I'm still living at home. And so it's been nice and cheap, for sure. But the classes are harder, I'd say, than high school. Let's see, what other things? It is harder than high school. I don't know, what other things did you guys talk about? Well, obviously we lived in a dorm, but I think being involved, there's not really a ton of things at MACC to be involved in, that at least that I'm involved in. But I'm really involved in like a lot of other stuff outside of school, and if I wasn't, it'd be, I think it'd be pretty boring just because like, otherwise I'd just be going to class and then coming home. So I think it's important that like, if you were to choose to go to MACC, which is a smart, cheap route to get your credits, it's important to also be involved in things outside of school. Like for example, I'm involved in doing Young Life. I don't know, a lot of you guys know what Young Life is. Kind of working at a church with a youth group, and just doing some other like small group stuff outside of school, which has been really cool to be a part of. And really different, I guess, from like the dorm life that a lot of people have. So, I don't know, what else? Yeah.
Real quick, we're going to go over kind of dorm life versus home life. So those of you that are in dorms, you kind of talk about your experience there.
So I lived in a pretty big dorm freshman year. It was kind of off campus, but it was newly renovated and really nice. I had one roommate. I know that in some buildings you have the choice of having more than one roommate, which could be a totally different experience, but I had one roommate, one big community bathroom. It's not as bad as you think. But the one thing about living in dorms is that everybody leaves their doors open. And so when you're doing homework and you just have that itch to procrastinate, it's really, really hard not to go in every single room on the way to your room to do your homework. So it's really important to find, if you know that you do well in certain study situations, like for me, I know that I can't read unless it's completely quiet. So I'm going to seek out the different resources on campus, like the library or some of the academic buildings, to kind of get away from the distractions, because that is one slippery slope and kind of a pitfall of living in the dorm life, is that it is so nice and so fun, and you have this awesome floor community and this building community. You get really close with the people that live around you, but it can be very distracting at times. After I lived in the dorm for 1 year, I actually moved into my chapter house. So that, again, was a completely different experience, because there are 100 members living in the house at one time. So again, those are people constantly seeking you out, asking questions, talking about things, talking about what you did on the weekend, talking about your classes. And while that does create a really awesome sense of community, it is very difficult to focus. So if you are easily distracted, then it's really important right from the beginning to try to find the places that you can go to really get a lot of work done.
I live at home, so I don't really know much about dorm life. I have a lot of friends that live in dorms, and anytime I'm on the phone with them or something, I always hear ruckus in the background. The con of living at home, I guess, is that you don't have a lot of like community around you. Like Cameron said, I also am in Young Life, and I play rugby, so I'm not really missing out on, like, I have friends, and I have a lot of friends that like are in college, so I get the same like aspect. I'm just not living with them.
Okay, who's planning on going to Mizzou here? Anybody interested in going to Mizzou? Okay, a lot of you. Awesome. So when you guys are going into Mizzou next year, you'll be freshmen. I encourage you guys, first of all, to enter a FIG. It's a freshman interest group, and it's within a residence hall. You are paired up or put into this huge group of other freshmen with the same interests of you. Like if you have, for instance, I was an engineering major my freshman year, and they put me with a lot of other engineers so we can take the same classes, and they helped me out and I helped them out. And that was a big help. And another thing about living in a residence hall, like I said earlier, I'm an RA, and so these people are college students just like you. They're just older, like sophomores or juniors or seniors, and you guys can just email them whenever if you guys are having problems. That's another big thing. If you guys are like, I'm homesick, they train us to help you guys. They train us to help with any problem you guys can have in the dorms. And dorms are a huge community, so just don't stay in your room all day. Sometimes leave your door open. Meet new people in dorms because they're super fun. And our job is to make them great communities and safe experiences for you guys. So do that. Yeah, and go Mizzou.
So I think the pros and cons are both valid for both. For like living at home, you have less distraction. You get food. it's a lot cheaper. You get to save a lot of money. But living in a dorm, you have a lot of community around you, and I actually live at home, so I don't actually know. But I assume that living in a dorm, you have that community, and you have a lot of people that have similar interests, like you were saying. So there's a lot more, I guess, resources to help you out with your classes and whatnot.
And guys, in dorms, there's community bathrooms, okay? You guys will share showers. Don't be that person that doesn't bring shoes. Bring shower shoes, please, for the help of everybody in your dorm. Wear shower shoes.
It is true. I brought a pair of flip-flops just for that scenario. I was kind of worried about getting some dangerous, aggressive foot disease. And I'm living on campus, and from what I know of it, I guess, yes, you can call it a community. There are people everywhere, and it seems to be, for some reason, these kids are up 24/7. But I don't really have, I've never had an experience where they're distracting. We almost always have our doors to our rooms closed, because we're not allowed to prop them open for, I think, fire purposes. Even though if your room was on fire, you'd open the door and you'd leave. Yeah.
That's a good question. Keandra is asking how many classes you guys have a day or a week. So if you guys could kind of take us through an average day or week, because our battle students are hearing 12 hours, 15 hours, 17 hours, but that looks a lot different than high school. So if you guys wanted to, we could start here with Isaac and pass it down.
Okay, so they call it an hour. I've never taken the time to really figure out how long I'm in class. But I know I'm in on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 to 2. I've got 4 classes. I've got German, Islam, American history, and math, which is just awful. And then after that, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I've got my German class at 10 in the morning, which Frau Maurer so graciously let me skip. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I've got marching to zoo rehearsal from like 4:15 to 6. And then the weekends, unless there's a game, I'm free. But there's normally a game, and those are a lot of fun. But I don't know how many credit hours that equates to. It doesn't take up most of my day, though, which is something I was really surprised about.
So I'm taking 12 credit hours, and Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I have my main lectures. I have my chemistry lecture, my biochemistry lecture, and then my biology lecture. And then also on Mondays, I also have chemistry lab. And so on Mondays, I have 8 a.m. chemistry, and then I'm there until about 4 p.m. for my lab. But there's a lot of time in between classes. And then Tuesday and Thursday, I have 1 class. I just have my biology lab at 1 o'clock, and that's it. And so my day's pretty open.
So the good news about college and these hours is in high school, you take about an average of 40 hours a week because you're just in class all day. And so when we say we take 15 hours or he takes 12 hours, that's 12 hours a week, or so all over the whole week. And so 12 hours at Mizzou is the minimum you can take to be fully enrolled. But what that looks like is, and then you can take up to 20 or 21, which is super nuts. Don't be that person. But what it looks like is you just get an hour. Hours are different. Sometimes a 3-hour class that takes you 3 hours can only be counted as 1 hour, which is crazy. But you could take an hour, 15 minutes a day, but you just get a schedule. You go in with your advisor, get a schedule, and it says, you're in this class from 10 to 10:50. Then you're in this class from 12 to 12:50. And that's 2 hours that day. And then so you schedule out and you get at least 12 hours in a week. And that's your whole week and that's your whole semester. And then what you do with the rest of it, because you guys have 28 hours that you guys aren't used to having during the week just for free. So what you do with the rest of it's up to you.
So my schedule is kind of crazy. I take 13 credit hours, which is the minimum at MACC to have your A+ scholarship. So I can't just say like Monday, Wednesday, Friday because it's all different. So like Mondays I have math in the morning until 10:30, and then I have this like awkward 2-hour break, and then I have public speaking, and then I'm done with classes at 1:55 on Mondays, and then I go home and usually fall asleep. Tuesdays I have Western Civ, which I just had this morning, and then my next class is until 2, and it's college orientation, and it's only an 8-week course, so this is my last week of it. So from here on out, I'm done with college orientation, and so I only have one class on Tuesdays and Thursdays that ends at 10:30, and then the rest of the day is mine. Wednesdays is kind of like my long day. I have math and public speaking, so it's the same times, but then I go to Comp 1, which is just like freshman English, and it's from 2 to 3:25, and so I'm not done with class on Wednesdays till 3:25. Thursdays I only have Western Civ, it's at 10:30, and I don't have classes on Fridays. So it's pretty laid back, but I have an awkward amount of time to sleep. That's what I do.
So when you are a freshman, and this probably isn't news to you guys, but when you're a freshman, you are in a lot more of your general education courses. And typically when you have those courses, they'll either be like Monday, Wednesday, Friday for a shorter amount of time, so like 50 minutes-ish, or you'll have classes typically on Tuesday, Thursday, and in that case, they're typically a little bit longer, like an hour and 15 minutes or an hour and a half. So freshman year, I was in 16 credit hours. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I had 3 short classes, and Tuesday, Thursday, I had 2 longer classes. Now that I am more focused into my content area, because I'm going to student teach next semester and then graduate, I have only 13 credit hours. So what I would really suggest to you guys, if possible, is to pack in those classes your freshman year, and if possible, really work through those so that you can have an easier semester towards the end. Because depending on your major, you do have to pick up some extra things. For example, doing field work or pre-service teaching is what we do in the education program, which is why we come into your classrooms and we get to observe and learn from you and learn from the awesome teachers here at Battle. So you have to incorporate that into your course load as well, and it doesn't actually count in your hours. So during my week, I'm in 13 hours of classes, but you have those 3 hours a week that you spend observing, and depending on your field, that can look a little bit different. So I actually only have my classes once a week. So I have one class on Monday nights, I have one class on Tuesday nights, and I have one class on Friday morning. And what that means is that those classes are super, super long. So when you're deep into your major, they typically call them methods courses, and so those would be like my teaching courses. So we will be in those classes for 2.5 hours about, and that's pretty typical. It's not always typical for your major that they are at night, but because I'm in the education field, a lot of my teachers are teachers, so they're teaching during the day and then teaching us at night. So it really gets a little bit different once you're more deep into your major, closer to senior year, but it's pretty typical to have those hour and 15-minute or just 50-minute classes as a freshman.
I'm taking 17 hours at MACC. So that basically what that looks like is like a Monday, I have like 9 o'clock with history and then psychology. And then I come back later for sociology at 12:30 to 2. And then like Tuesdays, like today, I have my 8 o'clock to 10:30, which sucks. But it's a good class though. And then after that, like I have a 2 to 3, actually in the class this summer, with college orientation. And then I have an awkward 4:30 to 6 class on Tuesdays and Thursdays that I've been for literature. And then so you kind of basically have your, I guess most classes are about an hour, but some of them are like the human biology, and anatomy class I have this morning, 8 to 10:30 is 2.5. So your hours are, like they're different, but most of the time it'll amount to like 3-hour credits per class. So, but I guess, yeah, again, the thing that's different between high school and college is that you'll have a lot more time in between, because like in high school, if you finish a class in the middle of the day, they'll just be like, all right, we can chill until class is done, or whatever they fill the time with. Whereas at college, if you finish whatever the lecturer or the professor or teacher is talking about, then you're free to go, which is pretty cool. So like sometimes you can get out of class like 30 minutes earlier than what it said the time you would get out normally. So that's pretty cool. And you'll definitely find yourself with a lot more time that you have to manage personally, which like for me, the first 2 weeks, like I definitely struggled because it was like I had all this time that was like, I can do whatever I want with this time, that I'm free. And I like super am amazing at procrastinating, so like I totally took advantage of that, and it was bad. So yeah, I'm working at trying to manage my schedule better, and that's something that like you'll learn once you go to college. Like with your free time, you also have to learn responsibility with that of managing that and getting stuff done.
You guys have asked great questions, especially Keandre. We have about 2 minutes left. I'm going to pass it down, and I want them to give one piece of advice they wish they knew last year when they were in your shoes or when they were high school seniors, and then we'll get out of here.
One piece of advice would be, it's not really advice, I guess, but it's like, I remember I took for granted this a lot, is that like my counselor, Ms. Nash, took like awesome care of me through the time that I was there, helped me figure out like what classes were going to be best, and really fill the gaps in a lot of different ways, like in things that I couldn't have really done by myself. And as soon as I got to MACC, I guess I was just used to it, so I expected I would get like awesome treatment, but it's just a lot different. Like you realize that your counselors here are here about it, like freaking awesome. So like don't take for granted what you have here, and just give them a thank you when you can.
I'm going to let you guys go because it's lunchtime. Remember, tomorrow we are also meeting in the PAC, and give our guests a round of applause. Thank you, seniors.